Hi, this is Paranoid Peter talking again about global warming. Now, we've had this Copenhagen thing going on now, but I think most people are hoping they're going to get, or hoping someone else is going to do something so they don't have to. Anyway, I think the whole world's just sitting around on hope now. Global warming is not even an issue, really. It's only there, something's happening, but it's an ideal time to save the planet. Right now, we could be using this global warming media frenzy to try and reduce the population. Because when you look at the effects of global warming on some countries like Asia and Africa, you could just substitute the word global warming for overpopulation, and it would seem that overpopulation is the problem. Global warming, with all the media frenzy and that hovering around what's happening in Copenhagen, you would think someone would put the connection together. Someone would come to the conclusion that global warming is actually a byproduct of overpopulation. If you look at the graphs, even Al Gore got them right. The graph of the population and the graph of the CO2 and the graph of the global warming, they're all the same. But it's easier to bring in carbon taxes and all these other silly little things that'll do nothing to save the planet, and overpopulation will destroy us all. I look at global warming just projected into the future, like say five years, even 10 years. Carbon taxing and what do they call that other thing? Carbon tax and carbon trading. They're not going to save the planet. They're not going to make any difference in the 5-10 year bracket. And in the 5 to 10 year bracket, I would say things are not going to be very good. We're going to see the start of the decline. If the fossil fuel people are right, then cheap oil's gone, and we're digging it out of what, 3 miles under the sea off the coast of Brazil. So cheapy stuff's gone. And since our whole society revolves around cheap oil, then we have problems. And global warming is nothing compared to what's going to happen. To me, it's just a smoke screen that people of multinationals or governments have just put there to give the masses something to complain about, because we can't do anything about it. If the oil depletion was or cheap oil problem, or peak oil or whatever people are calling it, was a bit of a problem, and the governments had to do something, well then things would have to be done, because peak oil or cheap oil or oil depletion or whatever is going to hit the planet long before 1 degree, or long before it gets 1 degree hotter. And a lot of the problems, or what are problems now, are going to be catastrophic problems in a few years. So I don't know if Copenhagen will actually achieve anything other than a bit of media frenzy. But I'd like someone to actually bring in the population thing. It's an ideal time now where someone could stand up, the governments could stand up and ask for voluntary birth control, child or population control. If you just said what a lot of people are saying is going to happen in the future, like I maintain that any child born this millennium is going to have a terrible life. That's it. I can't see them having a good life. I can't see them having the life we had. They're going to see the end of cheap oil very soon. And with the end of cheap oil, we'll have the end of cheap, plentiful food. We'll also be running out of water. Cheap, clean, fresh water is going to be a thing of the past. But the big one is electricity. The global warming alarmists are all trying to ban coal. Well, most of the world's coal, most of the world's energy or electricity comes from coal. So you get rid of the coal, you get rid of the electricity. And that is going to be, I think, the big clincher. Because right now, with the world in economic mess, there's been no serious riots. There's been a few food riots, but that was before the mess. But there's been no serious riots, no crowds of disgruntled people roaming the streets. But at the moment, they've still got their Xboxes and their PlayStations. They still got the internet. They can still download all their X-rated movies and whatnot. So they can still do things. They can be kept busy. So they're not going to rush off and roam the streets and attack a few buildings and burn a few buildings and whatnot. But if the electricity goes off, people won't have those things. They won't have the internet. They won't have Xboxes. They won't have lots of things that they have now. And that is when the roaming masses will destroy the place. That is when cities will collapse. When there's no food in the refrigerators, or when the food in the freezer is going off. When there's no food in the supermarkets. You can't heat your house. When the electricity goes off for a prolonged period of time, which is what will happen if they don't do something about this coal. They don't start generating more coal or doing what China's doing and building 2 new coal-fired power stations a week or something, according to Al Gore. I think it's actually a month now. They slowed down a bit. But they're going to start doing the right thing. They're going to make sure the people are happy. Whereas the rest of the world, they're just carrying on as normal, waiting for they're not exactly waiting for the electricity to run out. And at the moment, because of the political clout of global warming, a lot of people just won't say when the electricity is going to run out. But it will. And that is when the problems will start. That's when the world will start to disintegrate. That's when our world, or my world, could collapse. But by then, I hope to be stuck in some 5-acre lot in the back of the Beyonds. But right now, I'm still stuck in a big city, doing the Copenhagen thing and hoping the power doesn't go off. Anyway, with those thoughts, I'll leave you there. This is Paranoid Peter signing off. Thank you and goodbye.